Hey, Isaac,
Yeah,
what's Migi's favorite social media platform?
I don't know.
TikTok.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Welcome to the Amateur Otaku podcast, where today we are talking Parasyte The Maxim. This is the show where we talk all things anime and manga. I'm your host today, Paramike, the novice cinephile. And joining me, of course, is the co-founder and co-host of this show, the Mad Doc himself, Isaac. How you doing, buddy?
I'm tired, but I'm good.
Yeah, you're falling asleep over there like Migi.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay. Also joining us for the first time on this channel is Jayla from the Last Scare podcast. How are you doing, Jayla?
Howdy, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here.
Glad to have you. And for the audio listeners, I think she might put some dirt in her eyes. Just forewarning you, if you check out the YouTube stream, Bully McGuire is in the building.
Yes.
So,
But isn't he always in the building?
Yeah.
He's always in your nightmares.
Dancing away in the background. It is terrifying. So, ladies, gents, we are talking Parasyte The Maxim. This is an interesting anime. It was recommended to us by, of course, Isaac. So, Isaac, what made you choose Parasyte The Maxim to cover? Did you have any prior experience with it beforehand, or was this your first time watching it?
Well, I have watched it before. I think it is my second time watching it, I do believe. And I felt that since we wanted to have Jayla on board on something, knowing her being a horror, sure, it's not a traditional horror, but I felt that this could be something that could fit her to joining in on an episode, honestly. Even though this has been on my bucket list of animes that I want to cover for quite some time.
Nice. So for those of you who don't know, Parasyte The Maxim is about a 17-year-old Shinichi Izumi, and he's partly infected by a parasite, monsters that butcher and consume humans. He and the parasite Migi must learn to coexist and to make sure they eradicate the other parasites before human extinction. Jayla, is this your first anime?
It is my first anime series. I've watched a few movies, but this is my first series I've sat down and actually dedicated myself to watch.
So, since the Mad Doc prescribed Parasyte The Maxim as your first anime series, what are your thoughts?
I'm really into it, man. I love how it's not weird in a bad way, but it has this tone to it that I enjoyed a lot. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. It's a good time. I like the tone of it. I like the art style of it. I like the horror elements of dealing with the parasites. I thought it was really, really cool.
Nice. So yeah, this is my first time watching Parasyte The Maxim as well, and I have to say, the first few episodes, I was really digging it. I feel like as the show went on, the premise just got stretched out a little too thin. Instead of being 24 episodes, it probably should have been closer to 15 or so for me personally. But I still really like the ideas and concepts, like the idea of what is a parasite, and the idea that the human condition is the parasite gnawing at these alien creatures, right? You see them evolve, develop emotions. And I just think that's really fascinating, especially when you look at Shinichi and Migi and their kind of dynamic. So really thought-provoking series. I just think it got stretched a little too thin as it kind of went along.
No, I totally see that. I do like how you made a point about how the evolution of the parasites themselves. I really love that thread and how it kind of slowly crept up on you. Or maybe it was just me. I didn't really fully clue into it until about where I think it was episode 10 when he got his heart ripped out.
Oh much. Yeah, it got dark real quick around 8, 9, 10.
That was insane. I was like, oh my god! It completely it drew me in even harder. But yeah, from that point on, you could really just tell how they were changing each other and growing with each other.
So
sure.
what you're saying is that I hit jackpot in choosing the first anime for your anime series for you to watch, and your debut here on the channel.
It was a perfect option, if you ask me.
Yeah, but well, I think on the worst part of covering this now in my book is maybe we should have waited for this for Halloween in some regard, but I would have to say that I think I agree with Mike. Kind of, I don't know if I would say 15, but 18 maybe, because somewhat felt kind of fillerish, but kind of don't. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And that's where I'm coming from, right? Where it's like there's a really fascinating story in this series. And again, I love the ideas, the concepts, even the characters. I really enjoy. I just think, like you said, Isaac, it feels like a couple of these are kind of fillery and they don't really tie together with the overall plot of the show. But that's not that big a deal because I mean, it's one season. They probably just wanted to make sure they got a full season, of like 24 episodes for it to go to air. Is this adapted from a manga, Isaac, or is this just like an original anime?
Let me double check while you two discuss it a bit.
So while Isaac's on the ones and twos Googling that, Jayla, was there any specific characters or storylines that stuck out to you the most?
Oh man, that's a good question. I
try.
I was I was pretty taken aback. Wait, going back to what we were talking about earlier, I was pretty taken aback when I was getting really into the story of him and his family, and then the mom dying. Completely was insane, and then having to fight that battle of that's not really his mom, and trying to accept it was really kind of the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the moments that I keep thinking about and thinking over as I was going over my thoughts on the show.
Yeah, like when we lose Shinichi's mother, it's a pivotal moment in the series, right? Because like the entire time, it's very TVMA, it's very bloody and gory, but
Right.
once it affects a character that's close to Shinichi, especially they built that relationship like a good episode or two prior, and it's like I should have saw that coming because that is a classic writing trope or a classic anime trope.
I felt
where
so
it's like
dumb.
it's like, yeah, we have all these flashbacks with the mom. Of course, they're gonna literally rip our hearts out by killing her off.
I felt so dumb.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where you're just like, of course that was gonna happen, and it was effective. You got me. You really got me crying here watching this anime.
Oh, and when he was yelling about how like he knew he didn't want them to go to the trip and they should have been safe there, and it was a lot.
Yeah, it was very heavy. Isaac, did you finish your mission, sir?
Yeah, I have finished my mission, and yeah, I have to say that. How should I put it like this? Before I start that I would argue that every major death doesn't feel unearned, not just how should I put it? Just because shock value, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, they're not kills just for the sake of kills.
Yeah.
Yes. Unlike Devilman Crybaby, who's I'm not. That's someone that I highly recommend to not watch. But anyway, well, yes, it is a science fiction horror manga, and which is written and illustrated by Hiroshi Iwaki and published by Kondasha back in. Let me check here. I will want to double check. It's early 90s, and it have even gone so far to get Seinen Award for Best Manga in 96. And so the manga have sold over 24 million copies back in December 2020.
That is awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I also love how late the anime adaptation came, right? So you said it was in the 90s, but the anime didn't come until 2014 or so. So
Yeah.
that's really interesting. Isaac,
And
have
it's
you seen
also
any? Sorry, go ahead.
and it's also made by Madhouse, who we have covered Lord knows how many shows from. So that's kind of funny that as well.
Okay, so for people like me who are dumb, or for people like Jayla who are new, what has Madhouse done?
Well, for example, they have any one of you seen Black Lagoon?
No.
I have not.
I'm just gonna take your word for it that they're great.
They
because...
have done Death Parade that we're about to cover soon, pretty soon. They have done the first season of One Punch Man. They have done Hunter x Hunter. They have done Death Note. They have done Overlord. They have done a series called Monster, which is one of the best series animes I've seen, and I wish it was more available to find. They have done Hellsing and Hellsing Ultimate. And Hellsing Ultimate in particular, I can highly recommend for you, Jayla. You would just eat that one up. And
I'm taking notes.
They have done
luckily, this is getting
Trigun.
recorded.
They have done Trigun. They made Paprika.
Dang. So, yeah, okay, I take your word for it. This production company is stacked with bangers upon bangers.
No joke.
Yeah, they have done a lot of animes, and they even worked on the Animatrix back in the day.
No, nice. That's awesome. I want you guys.
Do you guys know what the Animatrix is?
I don't.
Go ahead and explain it for us.
Spin-off / a semi-sequel to Matrix that focusing on sort of like side stories with other characters.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, I think they're on HBO Max right now with in like the Matrix collection. If you go there and want to check them out.
Yeah, but go on, Mike.
So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on Shinichi as a main character, right? Like he starts off very normal, and you see like one of the biggest things is, are you Shinichi Izumu? That's something that Muranos asked him like every other episode, to the point where I wanted to punch her in the face. But it's a valid question, right? Because you do see over time him changing. Especially he becomes colder because he and Migi are basically taking parts of each other's personality. So how do you guys think they handled like his character arc growth and changes? I'm gonna start with you, Jayla, because Isaac went on a rant for like 4 minutes with Madhouse.
I wouldn't call that a rant, but
it's not a rant, but you went on for a minute, so I'm just giving her a chance to speak.
Oh man, I'm just enjoying being here since I'm so pretty new to anime. But I find that like his character, it freaks me out in a good way, right? The idea of kind of losing yourself, you know,
Yeah.
it freaks me out. It does. It kind of just it gets under my skin. Ha ha ha. But but I enjoyed it. It made sense to me. The way that it progressed was satisfying, even though it freaks me out to think about too deeply. I thought it was really well done, and I also thought it was just me that was being annoyed that you got asked the same question over and over. So
no, yeah, it was so frustrating because it's an anime, and Isaac, you know this better than anybody. We could have just made that a flashback 20 times. She asked him the same question. And it got really annoying because I'm watching the English dub. And first off, Jayla, did you watch this in English or Japanese?
I watched the dub. I'm sorry.
I watched the dub.
Yeah, you don't have to excuse yourself. Apologize for watching sub or dub. We don't have a. Let me put it. We're no elitist in that regard.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
Watch it in whatever language you want. English is easier because I speak English. There you go. Sorry, everybody who's listening. We probably pissed you off, but you know. But
I'm watching 9 out of 10 in Japanese, but I sometimes watching a dub. So
the reason I bring this up, Isaac, is because Murano is voiced by Lucy Christian. Great voice actress. But my God, she annoyed me so much in this show.
what has she done?
Give me a second. She annoyed me so much in this show that I now hate Ochako Uraraka forever.
Oh. And you can never, I can't hate Uraraka. She's the, what's it called? Okay, I can't recall that.
I mean, she's a cinnamon roll, but still.
Thank you. That's the same.
I'm sure when season 6 starts, I'll get over it. But like, everything associated with that voice irritated me because she kept asking the same freaking question over and over. But back to the main point, Isaac, for you, what were your thoughts on Shinichi's character growth or arc in this series?
I think it was excellent because it's a arc extremely well executed. That also made sense in terms of the story because it would have sort of like what we talked in a previous with another recording we did. It wouldn't have made sense if this would have been just a happy-go-lucky journey, so to say. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, for sure. So that raises a great point, though, right? It's not sunshine and rainbows in this story, but one thing that I really appreciate is the growth of Migi and seeing Migi kind of soften up as the series goes on, and Migi never fully understands human emotion, and I like that about the character, right? Like Migi is trying to understand, but most of the time he shrugs it off. I'm gonna mess up and say she because the English voice actor is female, so I'm sorry, but Migi is canonically considered a he. At least that's what Shinichi says. I just really think the dichotomy between Migi and Shinichi going in almost opposite directions is really fascinating. Like, Jayla, what are your thoughts on how they handled Migi as a character?
I mean, I don't want to just repeat what you said, but you kind of nailed it for me. I like that he didn't really understand human emotion. I enjoyed seeing him trying to understand it, trying to learn certain things. Like whenever he it was in like the first few episodes where what was her name? I can't think of her name, but like he completely bombed with this girl. And Mickey popped up saying he wished he could see how human matings works. And it was really funny.
One of the rare moments of levity in this series, I will say. Oh man, such a great scene. I love how in this show there aren't really villains. Like Miki makes a point to say that the parasites are just trying to survive, much like the humans are. And so I thought that was a really cool twist, right? Because yeah, this kid is infected with this dangerous parasite, but it's not, oh no, aliens are attacking and they're going to eat our brains and take over the world. It's no, they just needed to find a place to live. They're basically, in a crazy way, refugees, right? And so I just really think that the story plays to that a lot, and it's a real strength of the anime, kind of showing the that I guess the circle of life and the hierarchy of we're all just trying to survive, and eventually you're going to have to take
the
each other out.
circle of life.
My gosh, Isaac got a Disney reference in. That's one for the record books, people.
It was a really good one too.
For context, Jayla, Isaac has only seen like 6 Disney movies in his entire life, so that's
7.
very.
Is one of them Emperor's New Groove?
Nope. I'm trying to trying to fix that.
Oh no, that's the only one that matters.
She's right. It's great. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. I quote it all the time. It's so messed
Oh my
up.
god. I quote it all the time too, but I don't even realize I'm quoting it when I do it now.
That's great. That's great. Isaac, did you have any other thoughts or anything you wanted to like throw at Jayla and I regarding Parasyte the Maxim?
Honestly, rewatching this, it kind of made me want to check out a live action movie just out of sheer curiosity. And also, if I will say this, for those but then again, I don't know if I could stomach that one, depending on how faithful that adaptation is.
So yeah, like the live action movie, I assume that's something that was made and produced in Japan.
Yeah.
Did that do well? Was it successful enough to get like sequels, or is it just like a one-off type of deal?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. The only reason I knew about it was because Brandon mentioned it for me. So I have no clue, actually.
Gotcha. Well, let me know what it's like if you check it out, because I'm not gonna watch it, but I'd love to hear you rant about another awful anime adaptation, because those are always hilarious.
I mean, the Japanese live-action adaptations of manga is usually at least decent compared to the Western ones.
Fair. So I guess kind of going through here, like what were your thoughts on like the action scenes, right? Like you were talking about what Madhouse has done, and they've done some really great like action shonen anime. This is a bit weird, and like the entire battle system with like the parasites and how Migi works as Shinichi's right hand. Like, do you think it made for some fun action sequences, or was it just kind of, middle of the road for you?
I mean, it means I think this is like you said, it's a right hand that is infected by a parasite. There is on paper you shouldn't be able to do that much in the first place, but I think they applied. I think they applied a really good job into choreographing it and animated. But then again, Madhouse is amazing in terms of animation studio, so that regard, I'm not that surprised in.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it was very creative. I love how they animated Migi being able to like pop off of Shinichi's shoulder. It's just like completely separate and severed is just hilarious. And like the creepy eyeball and mouth in the hand is just so unsettling. It makes there some great visual comedy, but also it's just really cool design wise.
Yeah, and it also going back to what you say about it's not earthly, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it come off as more alienated in terms of look and feel and all that. Yeah, so you can know that no, this isn't a normal circumstance that is on Earth kind of deal.
Gotcha. Do you think, and I know that this is a series that's been over for a long time now, but would you be interested in like a sequel series? Because we see like this character of Uda, who is in a similar situation like Shinichi, having his like parasite in his jaw. Would you be interested in seeing like more of this world, or do you think it's better as a one-off type of story?
Honestly, I know that this is kind of generic answer, but unless the mangaka is not involved, I don't want a continuation of it.
That's fair. I'd say I'm with you. I don't think we need to revisit. I think everything that needed to be said in Parasyte the Maxim was said in Parasyte the Maxim. So I think that is a great place to leave it, personally.
I mean, for what we know, the mangaka could just, hey, I want to focus on another character, making it sort of like an anthology series, and that lives in this world of Parasyte, and have that one focus on that character having it in a totally different journey. In comparison, I mean, that could work. Kind of a deal. I just don't think, I don't know if you could make a sequel, so to speak, especially considering what we talked about, how it felt like it's stretched thin, if you get my point.
Totally. I think you raise a good point, right? If we're already saying that it's stretched a little too thin, maybe it's not worth trying to refine it unless you have like that perfect idea.
Because just thinking about it some more, I think if they, for whatever reason, want to revisit this franchise, I do believe it's make it an anthology series, so to speak.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jayla, did you have any other thoughts on Parasyte The Maxim?
I'm glad this is the one I started with. I really had a great time. I'm looking forward to exploring more anime. And no, it was great. I love the visuals. I love the story. I like those short and sweet for the most part. Yeah, good stuff all around.
Yeah, I can recommend you continuing with Vampire D Bloodlust and Hellsing Ultimate.
Oh boy, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, these are serious suggestions, not just me trying to fry Brandon's brains types of suggestions now.
Wait, you can be nice? Since when?
Yeah.
I'm always nice.
Oh gosh. You know, the people listening have heard the show long enough, Isaac, that they know that is a freaking lie. But anyway.
I'm an angel. I'm a sweet and innocent angel. We all know that.
Okay. That's a wrap, guys, for Parasyte The Maxim. It is a great series. You should totally check it out if you haven't already. It is currently streaming on Hulu and Crunchyroll. So check it out in dub, in sub. It's great regardless. Jayla, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Geek Vibes Nation, especially the Last Year podcast on Geek Vibes Podcast on YouTube, and check me out on Twitter at Cheese Stick Rap.
Nice. Isaac, my friend, what about you?
Well, you can find my work at Bobab Entertainment, and you can find me over at Alomaniac on Twitter.
And you can find Brandon at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter. And you can find the podcast at Amateur Otaku Pod on Twitter and wherever you get your podcasts. You can find me at Novice Cinephile on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at youtube.com/Novice Cinephile. With that said, we will see you in the next video. Keep watching anime. Keep being awesome. Take care. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye.